welcome to Cat Studio. Today we're working on a rope basket, and this one is going to have fabric wrapped on it. And I have all my Easter colors. I did the biased cut, so all my pieces are stretchy and they don't fray as much as the straight cut. So I do have a video on how I take a fat quarter and cut that. And I'm sorry, these are kind of a mess today. But I was wrapping last night. I was watching TV and I wrapped 50 feet of cotton rope. So let's get started on, I just want to show you how I wrap it, and I'm not going to do the whole entire thing. I'm going to try and cut that center out, trim this down a little bit. And I use a glue stick to tack my rope on, and also a couple of the wonder clips until it dries. So I just go ahead and start wrapping. I wrap to the back this way. It's just easier for me, and I lay this right across my lap while I'm sitting on the couch and just continue wrapping. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue on the ends, and I use a little piece of paper or a piece of, I don't know, this is chipboard, whatever, just so I don't get glue everywhere. And I'm just going to put some glue on the very end here. And I do that on every piece that I start and end with. You don't have to do that. You can use straight pins to pin this on. And I just put it on an angle like so, up a ways, because I'm going to twist that end. I'll go like so, and I might put a little bit more glue just on the beginning piece that I start with, and just continue wrapping around. And I like to kind of do a thing where I just hold with my finger and my thumb and turn it, and I move my grip down a bit and just continue to turn that. And then I will go and turn this at the top with a little bit more glue. Don't worry about the glue. We're going to trim that piece off. You'll see my other piece when we get to it. And just clip that for now and let that dry up like this. And then just continue wrapping all the way down. And I use shorter pieces when I first start because we're going to coil this and it's going to be small. And I don't want the whole bottom to be just one color. So then we just continue wrapping until you get to the end of that strip. And then just again, I put some glue there, wrap that around, and then I just begin my next piece. So then I'll just take my next piece of fabric, put some glue on it again, on the wrong side of the fabric. That's where I'm putting the glue. And you, like I said, you don't have to do this. You could just wrap this and clip it or pin it. And so I want that angle again, like so. Then I will just continue wrapping. Make sure that's in there. I'll pop a clip in right here where I just put the new piece, and I'll let that clip sit there until the glue, I feel like the glue is dry. So when I'm wrapping, I am just going probably over a 1/4 inch here, and I have this on quite an angle. And you can see I'm covering that end. And it covers itself as you wrap. So that's how we wrap our cotton cord. And let me finish this piece up and we'll get started with our basket. Little glue there, just on the very end. And turn that so that it's snug in there. And the next piece will just cover that bit up where it's kind of hanging down sideways. So that next piece will just go on like so. And I sometimes go in and just cut this straight across because sometimes I just I don't like that angle, because it tucks better this way when it's straight, kind of straight. It tucks better on that left side there. So this kind of catches it when you go around. You see that? But with the glue on there, it will hold it. But again, you could just clip that and leave them all clipped until you get it to the sewing machine and just remove those clips as you go. But I feel more secure with the glue stick, and I don't worry about it, coming apart, because what if I'm in the middle of sewing and all of a sudden it unravels and I've started at that end and gone down this way, and I would have to take the whole thing apart. So the glue stick for me works well. It's a Scotch permanent glue stick, and I don't use a ton of it, just enough to hold that fabric on. So let's get started with our rope basket. Here's my basket of rope that I sat and wrapped last night, and you can see it's all tacked on nicely. Not a lot of fraying going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to my right side, because I'm right-handed, and I like to pull my rope from my right side. If you're left-handed, you could go the other way. Here's the end where I kind of twirl that in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that off, and we're going to start coiling that. And we're probably going to pin that together, the coil. So that is going to hold together nicely. I don't have any fraying going on there, which is nice. So what we're going to do is coil this into a circle about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, because we have fabric, so it might be a little bit bigger than, okay, so just lay it on your table. It's the easiest way to coil your rope basket start. So where we started to coil is right here. So I'm going to take that rope all the way back around to this side and pin it. I don't know why, I just do it that way. I just like to, so I have a visual of where I started, and I will keep that pin as I go in my work so that I can just keep my eye on where I'm ending my rope basket. So there we have that pinned together. And again, you don't have to pin this. You can go right straight over to the sewing machine and start sewing, which is how I usually do this. But for the camera and for everyone out there that hasn't done this before, pinning it makes it slightly easier. So we'll go over to the sewing machine. Okay, so here's my sewing machine set up. I have a size 16 needle. So I have to my left side here, I have a stack of paper. It's still wrapped in its plastic. It's cardstock, a couple of stacks of that to reach up to the edge of my sewing machine here. And I have the inch marks marked off from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think 4 is about right here. So let's get started sewing. And how we're going to sew this today is we're going to go across, and then at a diagonal to those crosses. So if my hand gets in the way, which it probably will, I apologize. What I like to do is just kind of go right down the middle first. Okay, I've gone ahead off camera and sewn in my cross and my diagonal stitches. I might have an extra one in here, I think right there, because I went a little crooked on that one. My sewing machine is all set up to zigzag now. I've got the tension at a 425-ish, a 6 for the width, and a 2.5 for the length. So let's get started and put your coil in the sewing machine so the letter Q is off to your left. The coil makes a letter Q is what I'm trying to say. And so we start up a little higher than just right here, because sometimes you might miss a spot, with your lines, and make sure it's not going to pop out of there. So we're going to start our zigzag stitch now, and we're going to go slowly. And I will, so again, I know I showed this in the other video, but if you haven't seen that one, what you're going to do here is you're going to zig and zag on one side to the other side of your fabric. That's why we need it set at least a 6, I think. And this project is thicker than our other ones without the fabric on them. So we're going to start up a little higher just to make sure that we're, tucked in, whoops, until we get down to here. And then we'll start adding rope to it as we go. But we go slowly at first because it is a small circle. And in order to keep the 2 ropes where they come together up the center of my presser foot, you have to go kind of slowly. So let's get started here with that. So just keep turning. I'll get my hand out of the way so you can see that my rope, where it comes together, is right up the center of my presser foot, right there. And you really just have to keep an eye on that almost like the whole way of making the basket. So we'll continue that. And the left hand just holds the rope loosely. I'm sorry, the right hand just holds the rope loosely and just guides. And turn with your left. And I made a boo-boo, so let's go back just slightly. I'm not really even going to cut that, am I? I am. So I'm going to cut that thread and start again because I missed a little bit there when I was turning. So I'm going to start there, a little bit of a back stitch. And again, like I said, I like to keep my threads trimmed off so that they don't get caught up and look like loops, like I have bad tension. So just continue to sew this in a circle, and it does get easier as we continue to get bigger. And just remember, when you're holding this fabric on your right, don't pull it, as it will pucker up your base, and all the while keeping this side as flat as you can. This is just turning out so pretty. I'm just in love with it. So what I want to do is go in and mark where I began my coiling, and that's the end where it looks like this right here, and mark that so that I know where I began and then I started going around. So I'm just going to put a pin here, maybe, just to mark that so that I know I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to start raising this up, and I'm almost at 6.5 inches right here. So I think this is a good point. I don't know, it seemed, let me see where we're at once we get here, because I really need this to be 6.5, and it's so close. Let's see, let's measure it. It's only about just over 6 inches. So we can go around one more time here. And I just want to share with you, with this Strong and Tough Brother sewing machine, it does have a kind of a lip here where you would put the bobbin in, and then you trim it off over to the right or left, and it kind of lifts up It's a little bit higher than everything else on this side, so I can't press down and hold this down over here. I'm holding it right about here because it keeps getting caught up on this section right here. So you put your bobbin in, and then you do the little thing, and that's where you cut the thread off. So I'm not happy about that, but this machine can sew thick stuff. So I'm just gonna, continue guiding this through. We'll go two more times, or yeah, we'll go one more time around. Here we are at our beginning. I think as close to it as I think I can get. So I'm going to measure again, a little over 6.5 inches. So, and I'm going to have to change my measuring, or just going to have to pull this out, I guess. This is not really helping us much at this point. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take my little tool that I've used in my other video to make a rope basket, and we're going to lift this up. We'll do a couple rounds. I'll probably do 2 rounds, 1 round at this angle, and I just put it to where it's a slight angle. I don't have any exact angle measurements for you, but just to lift it slightly. You can use your hand if you prefer that. The cell phone worked out really well for my other basket, so we're going to go with that. And if you don't have a cell phone, use a drink coaster or something to that effect. All right, let's go around once and see where we're at. And you'll see that it'll start to curl up a little bit as you do it at this angle, which is what we're going for. I have to guide this a little more, it seems like, when you start angling. Hopefully that video didn't cut off, but we will continue this. We're still on the first angle. We'll continue that until we get to our pin. Now we're going to move our cell phone in to about the center of the base for a little bit more of an angle. We'll go around once with that and see where we're at and see if we feel like we need to go up to 45 yet. I think we can safely move up to closer to 45 now. I'm just pushing this into the edge. It's almost on the edge of my sewing machine now. The little tool works so well. And once we get around a couple more times, it will automatically, I think, go up. We'll see. This is turning out so pretty. I just adore this. Now, I was just going to mention that sometimes my presser foot is getting stuck in the little gaps here. If I was smart, I would have started sewing back the other way, the opposite way that I wrapped it. So we're back at where we started again. You can see where my pin is at, and then we're going to now start lifting it up to the machine. I'm going to put my pin on the back side of the basket bottom so that we won't get caught up on the edge of our machine with that pin. All right, we're going to continue, and now we're going to do our 45-degree angle until the top of our basket. We're going to continue this angle here. Now, I'm not sure what the angle is, but until we can reach the top of our sewing machine, 3-4 rounds. So I'm going to continue to sew, and I just want to show you that we are at a good 90-degree angle here right now. And I did have a little snafu here where for some reason, I was getting a Y-shaped zigzag on this side, which would be the underneath bobbin. So I did set my tension to a 5 because we do have thicker than my normal just row with the fabric. So the thicker you go, the larger your tension needs to be. So you're going to have to practice with that. So I'm going to continue sewing this until I'm almost out of rope, and I'll meet you back here when I get finished. So I'm almost finished. I did clip off the end so that I could have enough left over for the handle that I'm going to sew together. And you can see we have a nice edge coming up here. And I'm guiding now at this point. It gets a little bit more challenging because you can't really see. It keeps leaning in, and I don't want it to lean in. I want it to be straight 90 degrees. So I am putting my fingers underneath right here and guiding at the same time, and my other hand is cupped around the back. So we'll do like another row, and we should be finished. Basket is complete now, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this end here and cut it and put a little tag here. So I'll meet you back here when I get all that ready, and then we'll make the handles. So here's my little tag. I just took a piece of fabric and folded it and sewed all around 3 sides, and I'm going to pop that over the end here, and I'm going to put my thumb here, and what I'm going to do is trim that. So I'm going to take that right there. I'm going to trim it on an angle. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to, since I've already trimmed this off, I'm just going to go in with my glue gun and put a very small amount of glue there. I'm going to try and wipe some of that out and press that down. A little more on this end. Push that fabric over it so we don't have fraying. And then I'm just going to go and sew my tag on. I've already put my fabric tag on, and it's just really piece of fabric that I've sewn together and just sewed it on with some embroidery floss. So what we're going to do is measure around our basket so we can figure out where we're going to put the handles. So that measures 28.5 inches. So we need to mark the first handle with a pin. So we'll mark the first handle with a straight pin. So I kind of wanted this to be off to the side a little bit. So the center of my handle will be about right there. So I'm going to measure 14.25 inches from this pin around this side to the other side. So that will give me this exactly the center of where that handle needs to go. Mark that with a pin. Let's take a look at that. It looks about right. So we're going to go ahead and put the handle together, and I'll meet you back here in about 2 seconds. I've gone ahead and laid out my piece that I have left over, and I have figured that about 20 inches is a good size for a handle. It might be a little slight bit bigger. And how we're going to do this, we're going to start sewing this together with our zigzag stitch at this end up to this right in here, and then we're going to stop, pick it up, and then start going around this way with it, and that will be our handle. So let's go on over to the sewing machine and put this together. Okay, we're back at the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch this together with the zigzag stitch, same settings that we had before. Take my pin out. It'd be good if I put that presser foot down, huh? Those two ropes are being held together, and the center of them are going right up the center of my presser foot. I might need a little hand in there, I'm not sure. All right, we're going to take that out now. That looks pretty good. It's probably a little easier to sew, I think, than the actual basket. Just a straight line. And then we're going to take this end and curl it around this way. And all the while I'm keeping my loose on my right side for this side. So we're going to pinch that together again at this end. I'm going to trim that little scraggler off right there. I guess I could have left it in there. Who would know? Tuck that in. Pinch it together good at that end. Go on up in there. Presser foot down. And make sure where I'm in the center, which I am not. I think I need my scissors back. Okay, we're ready to start. I did a little extra stitching on that end there because it's going to be our loose end, because we're going to have to cut this off. Alrighty, and let's take that out. Have a look at it. It looks pretty cool. What do you think, guys? Is that a nice little handle? Not sure how I'm going to put this on yet. I think I might tack it down with some glue and then sew it on. Let's bring that basket over and take a look. Go ahead and put our handle on now. I'm just going to clip it on to start with. So let's line up the center there. This side looks really cute. My other side is not as cute because it's not round. I think I'm going to round this out here a little bit. There, much better, much better. A little glue. I probably should use fabric glue for this, but she's not going to notice. My granddaughter, she won't notice that I put hot glue there. Okay, let's get that out over to the other side. Oh my goodness, how adorable. And then I might even, I think I pulled this one down a little bit farther. Let's see. Let me clip this on first. I'll clip just to hold it. I just want to see it. Let's see if you guys can get a look at that. How cute that is. Isn't that the most darling Easter basket you've ever seen? And oh my goodness, I love it. I think I might put like a little something here. I'm not sure yet. But I love it. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to glue, make sure in about the right spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, exactly in the right spot on both sides right now. So I'm going to pop a little hot glue under there, and then I'm probably going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew the top here from this side. I'm not sure if I can go through all that fabric though, so I might have to do it by hand. Here's the final look at our basket. I think it is just adorable. Our little rag rope Easter basket. Super easy to do. Just a little time consuming wrapping the rope with the fabric. Check out my tutorial for the bias back quarter cutting. That might be helpful to you. I also popped in one of my base cloth bunnies that has chocolates right down in here. So those are really quick to make. And I threw in some fabric for Easter grass. I'll get grass later, but for lack of having that at the moment, I think it turned out really cute. Hit that like button for us, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that you'll be notified when I make new videos. And I plan on making more rope basket tutorials with different size ropes and maybe add some color with dyes and things like that. So join me for those and share this out with your friends. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.